Chad Jewell, leaving General Hospital, embracing new challenges, and a possible return to daytime drama. Chad Jewell, best known for his long-running role as Michael Corinthos on General Hospital, recently sat down with Soap Opera News and opened up about where his career is headed next. Fans have been wondering if he's gone for good or if the door is still open for a return. The truth is, Jewell hasn't closed any doors, but he's also not standing still. His career is shifting in bold new directions, with opportunities that promise both physical and emotional depth. And while he's excited for what's ahead, he hasn't forgotten where he came from or the loyal fans who've supported him along the way. Leaving General Hospital wasn't an easy decision. After years in the role of Michael, one of the most emotionally layered characters on daytime television, Jewell needed a reset. It was an opportunity to recenter, to take a breath, and to reevaluate everything, he admitted. But don't mistake that pause for a retreat. Jewell is anything but idle. At the moment, the actor is neck-deep into thrilling new film projects. While he's keeping most of the details close to the vest, he offered one fascinating tease. In one of the films, he plays a man who must carry his injured friend through a brutal, unforgiving wilderness. This isn't just another action role, it's an emotionally demanding survival story that will test the limits of his character's endurance, loyalty, and humanity. Fans are already speculating, could this be a prison escape story? Could Jewell's character become a cellmate to someone like Luna and become an unlikely partner in a daring breakout attempt? The parallels to the gritty, dramatic arcs of daytime soaps are undeniable. But this time, the stakes are even higher and the environment even more unforgiving. Despite this shift toward film, Jewell hasn't ruled out a return to daytime drama. In fact, he seems open, even intrigued by the idea. "Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in another daytime soap," he said. "It depends on the role, the tone of the show, how they view me as a performer, and whether the team behind it is excited about working together. If they've got a strong story and a compelling character, I'm all in." Naturally, this raises the question, if not General Hospital, then where? Rory Gibson has taken over the role of Michael in Port Charles, which makes a return to GH a bit more complicated, but not impossible. Daytime dramas are known for reinventing characters, recasting roles, and bringing back familiar faces in new forms. Could Jewell return as a completely new character with a dark past and hidden motives? It's not out of the question. In the world of soap operas, no storyline is ever truly over. Everything is in flux, and anyone can return at any time. But beyond GH, there are other major players in the daytime game. The bold and the beautiful, the young and the restless, Days of Our Lives, and even the fan favorite Beyond the Gates. Any of these shows could benefit from Jewell's intensity, emotional range, and ability to carry a storyline on his shoulders. A tortured anti-hero, a misunderstood newcomer with a mysterious past, a man on the run from something he can't escape. The possibilities are endless. Jewell's versatility is part of what makes him such a valuable asset to any production. Over the years, he's proven that he can play everything from heartbroken son to vengeful lover to grieving father, all with a rawness that resonates. His presence on screen is grounded, electric, and often unpredictable. That's not just acting, that's commitment. And it's that level of commitment that he's bringing to his new roles. What's especially striking about Jewell's current phase is how candid he is about the emotional cost of being a long-time player in the soap world. Even when I felt burned out or like I needed to recharge, playing Michael was still a blessing, not just for me, but for everyone who watched, he shared. It's a rare moment of reflection in an industry that often moves too fast for gratitude. But Jewell takes the time to acknowledge the people who made his career possible, the fans. And they've stuck with him through everything. The high-stakes custody battles, the courtroom drama, the violent feuds, the shocking deaths, the romantic chaos. Michael Corinthos was more than a role. He was a vessel for all the messy, complicated, beautiful contradictions of real life. And Jewell gave it everything he had, year after year. Of course, fans still speculate daily on whether he'll be back on GH. And even though Gibson is doing solid work as the new Michael, there's always a whisper of doubt. What if Jewel returned in a surprise twist? What if the real Michael has been missing this whole time, and the man in Port Charles is an imposter planted by one of Sonny's enemies? Soap operas have pulled bigger stunts with less. And with Drew Kane's shocking shooting incident sending ripples through Port Charles, the timing couldn't be better for a major shakeup. The fallout from Drew's shooting is just beginning to unravel. Secrets are surfacing. Loyalties are shifting. With tensions at an all-time high, the canvas is wide open for a new player to enter or an old one to return in a new skin. Imagine Jewel re-entering the storyline, not as Michael, but as a vengeful ex-CIA operative drawn to Port Charles by whispers of corruption and unfinished business. He could have ties to Sonny, to Carly, to Jason's shadowy past. And he could be the one to finally uncover who really pulled the trigger on Drew and why. Meanwhile, the wilderness film he's currently shooting may offer even more insight into the kind of character Jewel is drawn to these days. Someone capable, resourceful, willing to go to the edge for someone they care about. That kind of intensity translates well to soaps, where every scene is life or death, love or betrayal. And it sets him up perfectly for a return to daytime as someone who forces every character around him to question what they think they know. Soap operas thrive on surprise, and Jewel knows how to deliver. Whether it's returning to a beloved character or creating someone entirely new, his next move will be one to watch. Until then, fans can only wait and speculate. But one thing is clear, Chad Jewel isn't going anywhere. He's just changing lanes, pushing himself harder, diving into stories that challenge him physically and emotionally. Whether he ends up on B and B, Y and R, Duel, Beyond the Gates, or right back in Port Charles, the question isn't if Chad Jewel will return, it's when. And when he does, it won't be quiet. It'll be explosive. The Bold and the Beautiful October 23rd episode recap. Secrets, Betrayals, and a Marriage on the Edge, the episode airing Thursday, October 23rd. Of The Bold and the Beautiful ignited an emotional wildfire that shows no sign of slowing down. Every interaction, every word was laced with tension, betrayal, and the impossible decisions characters were forced to make under pressure. What began as quiet doubt quickly exploded into emotional warfare, especially for Deacon, Sheila, Taylor, Elektra, Luna, and Will. The balance of trust and truth shattered, and nothing will be the same again. At the center of it all was Deacon Sharp, a man stuck in the middle of love and logic, haunted by the question, can a woman like Sheila Carter truly change? After all the chaos she's left behind, the lives she's damaged, the lies she's spun, could he really have believed she'd finally become someone worthy of trust and marriage? For a time, yes. He did believe. He loved her. He gave her the benefit of the doubt when no one else would. But now, with revelations unfolding around him, the cracks in their foundation have turned into chasms. Deacon turned to Taylor Hayes for guidance not just as a friend, but as a trained therapist who might be able to make sense of the emotional hurricane he was caught in. At first, Taylor was reluctant. Treating a friend, especially when the subject of that friend's pain is someone as volatile and dangerous as Sheila, was an ethical minefield, but she couldn't turn her back on him. Not when he was falling apart from the inside out. So she agreed to see him professionally, and their session unraveled decades of pain, uncertainty, and denial. Deacon opened up about his fear that Sheila hadn't changed, that she was still manipulating those around her, that the woman he married might have been playing him all along, and the catalyst for that fear. The secret Sheila kept, one that rocked the lives of everyone around her. The truth about Luna. What Sheila discovered weeks ago could have ended everything. She had learned the terrible secret that Dr. Lee Finnegan had hidden. Luna was alive. Luna, the young woman everyone believed had died during a high-risk surgery, had been kept hidden by Lee. Her survival was not just a miracle, it was a deception on a citywide scale. Sheila uncovered it, and instead of telling Deacon or the authorities or even Luna's family, she kept it buried. She used it to her advantage. She let everyone else keep believing Luna had died, using that silence to consolidate her position and manipulate the narrative. But Luna knew Sheila had discovered the truth. Lee knew, and still they said nothing. A complex network of secrets, stares, and whispered threats had grown. But now everything was starting to unravel. Deacon's world cracked open when he found out about Sheila's silence. That she had known something so life-changing and said nothing. That she allowed Lee to keep living that lie. And worst of all, that she betrayed the trust he had fought so hard to build. It wasn't just about Luna, it was about whether Sheila could ever be honest, or whether deceit was hardwired into her DNA. And that's why Deacon needed Taylor. He needed someone to help him navigate what came next. Someone to tell him whether saving this marriage was even worth it or if Sheila was beyond redemption. Through tears, anger, and long silences, Deacon laid his soul bare in Taylor's office, and Taylor, though still guarded, began to understand how deep this damage ran. It wasn't just about a lie, it was about a man losing the one thing he thought he had finally found: peace. But the story didn't stop there. Elektra, tangled in a web of her own devastation, was reeling from a shocking truth. The DNA test had confirmed what she couldn't fathom. Will was the father of Luna's child. Not just some affair, not a passing mistake. This was betrayal etched in blood. For Elektra, the news was like an earthquake splitting her world in two. She had already suspected something, already watched Will grow distant and cold. But confirmation was something else entirely. She spiraled. Her emotions spun out of control. Her anger boiled over. She called the police. Luna was arrested. Just like that. A woman once thought dead was now a criminal, locked in handcuffs and dragged away because Elektra couldn't deal with the truth any other way. She wanted justice, or maybe revenge. But what she got was chaos. And in the midst of this chaos came a realization. Elektra, broken and breathless, started to see through the fog. It wasn't just about Will and Luna anymore. It was about everything she had built on top of lies and hope and denial. Everything she thought was stable, her future, her family, her identity was now cracking at the seams. And the person responsible, maybe it wasn't just Will, maybe it wasn't just Luna, maybe it was Elektra herself, for trusting too blindly, for believing that love was enough to stop the inevitable. Will, meanwhile, said nothing. His silence was deafening. His absence spoke louder than any confession. Was he ashamed, guilty, or simply too afraid to face what he had done? Either way, he was gone when Elektra needed him most. That silence was the answer she'd been avoiding. Back at Taylor's office, Deacon continued to question everything. Could he stay with a woman who kept life-altering secrets? Could he love someone who had used silence as a weapon? He remembered the vows, the hope, the belief that love could change people. But now he wasn't sure. Maybe love wasn't enough. Maybe some people were just built to destroy. Taylor listened, offering careful guidance but no easy answers. She knew Deacon had to decide for himself, to look Sheila in the eyes and see whether there was any truth left between them. But what she did offer was clarity. And clarity in a world built on blurred lines and hidden agendas was more powerful than any promise. Sheila, meanwhile, remained defiant. She didn't apologize. Not really. She justified. She rationalized. She insisted that keeping Luna's survival a secret had been the right move, the safe move, the necessary one. That if she had come forward, it would have put lives at risk, triggered panic, exposed Lee to legal consequences. But the truth was simpler. She did it because it gave her power, because having that secret meant having control. Now, as the dust begins to settle, the lines are clearer than ever. Deacon is standing at a crossroads caught between the woman he loves and the truth he can't unlearn. Elektra is watching the life she thought she had built collapse in real time. Will has vanished into silence. his guilt and shame hanging in the air. Luna is behind bars, her freedom stripped away not by her actions, but by the fury of a woman scorned. And Sheila? Sheila is watching it all with those familiar calculating eyes, planning her next move, knowing the war isn't over, it's just getting started. The episode on October 23rd wasn't just another chapter in a long-running soap, it was a turning point. Every character was forced to confront the consequences of lies and silence. Every relationship was tested, and as the credits rolled, one thing was clear: no one is safe, and nothing will be the same. The bold and the beautiful isn't slowing down. If anything, it's charging full speed into the storm. And we're all here for